Come on, girls. Howdy, folks. Welcome to Bullish on Farming. Yep. Today is May 21st, and calling the herd. This will be their third or fourth rotation since we've turned them out back around May 2nd. Now we're understocked for our pastures, so we got on a little early, and we're going to try and sweep across the farm in a timely manner. I gave them what was a 3 or 4 day paddock here, and we got 8 cows, 3 heifers and 5 cows, and then 3 calves on the hip. Still more to come, but that sizing's giving us a good type of impact that we're looking for on first pass. You can see on the left, yet to be grazed, it's where I'm moving them now, and on the right is where they've been for 3 days. You could call it 3 days and a bit. But if you take a look around, you know, obviously this is where there's some lush grass that gets half shade throughout the day, absorbs a lot of moisture, is by the trees, tends to be lush. But you can see that we're just taking it down to about half, 6 to 8 inches. And if we leave a bit more, that's all right. Coming with this spring flush that we're getting, we just want to browse the plants, take the top half off, and move along, because the next 14 to 28 days will offer great growth for our pastures. And, you know, the recovery period can be a bit shorter. Then we'll stop things down and go a bit slower. Now, this is a small group, so I got a lot of forgiveness, especially since we got extra acreage. So you take a look around, and this is what we're leaving. About 1/3 going to seed, 1/3 trampled, 1/3 grazed. And if it's even a bit lighter than that right now, I don't mind. I'd rather undergraze it a bit than overgraze it at this stage of turning out, just because of how you can play the spring flush. And you know, once a field goes into recovery during your strong growth period, you can count on that field bouncing back well. And so you see, we got our Hereford girls here, 3 calves, 1 bull, 2 heifers. Now I'm gonna have to move these girls. Hup. Pretty calm group, but you know, I don't feed them grain. No treats in a bucket. We are 100% grass fed. And yes, we fed hay through this winter cycle. And we started that in about January. Come on, Bubba. This guy's about 3 days old. Let's go. And you know, if I had them trained to a bucket, I'd just holler and they'd come. But you know, it doesn't take them too long. Yep. I'm just trying to group them along that fence line there. Yep, there we go. You know, it doesn't take long for the cows to start to get excited when you're at the gate, because they know that means fresh grass. And you want their moves to be positive, especially in the beginning stages. Always, you want all your interactions with your animals to be positive. Lower stress on you, lower stress on them, and it just becomes an enjoyable relationship. You know, you got to have patience, and anyone who's worked with animals for long enough knows this. They learn it the hard way maybe, or they actually take someone's advice. I'm not gonna lie, you know, I've learned my own lessons. That's all part about farming and ranching. And so, you know, it's the evening right now. It's the very pretty, quiet time of the day. And they've stopped right at the gate. I got the reel down right over there. Go on, and we'll take a look at what we're moving them out to. Let's go, little one. Hup. Calves are usually a little more quick to react. So if you can get them running through the gate, the moms will follow. But it doesn't take too much. Let's go, girls. Hup, 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 hup. Yep. What are you doing? See, if they turn back like that, I take a step back, I let them regroup and realize everything's calm and relaxed and you can walk through if you want. No one's forcing you to do anything. The older cows, they're wiser. So I'll go for her. Well, you think she'd be more mature, but she pushed you through the gate, so that worked. Go on, girls. It's waiting for you. There it is. Once one goes, you got the gang. Now, I still have my water trough filling up over there. And if, you know, it was a really hot day and the cows happen to be thirsty, that noise of the float will usually make them run for the water trough. And then you got a problem if they're playing with the trough before it's filled, because it's as light as a feather. It's a poly tub. But I have it just under the wire, half on each side, so they have to go in and drink very carefully and can't be too rambunctious. So you can see they have a nice pretty tree line here that'll give them shade in the morning and the evening, both sides. And that's the trough. Running a 75-gallon tub. I could probably have gone with smaller. But you know, our plan is to grow the herd. And I like a 75-gallon tub. The other one sometimes, being that small, you know, things happen. Sometimes you never know with the water lines, and once they start throwing around those small tubs, just bad news for your hoses. It's just not how they're supposed to be handled. It's supposed to be handled by a human, not a cow. So you can see this is what we got waiting for them, folks, and we're happy to give it to them. It's probably going to be another 3 days, this paddock. And I put up a tensile wire that goes right through that tree line. That's where we're moving to next. Plenty of pasture, plenty to cover. And you know, sorry if the camera's shaking, the mosquitoes are just vicious right now. We got more pasture up by our barn. And that field over there is a field for the sheep. And our sheep are up over there at that side of the farm. And we're excited to graze all this with the cattle. Still in May. Soon enough will be hay season. See that calf on the other side of the wire. It's no worries. And yeah, folks. So just a great year here, starting out to graze the farm. And we got a lot to offer our cattle. And you know, grazing fields that are this full, it's nice because you know that you're putting carbon back on the ground by getting your cattle to trample it. And you know, you're feeding your animals and they're always full and getting the best nutrition from nature's bounty. That's vegetation rooted in soil. And you know, when you let your fields get enough rest and they go to seed head, and you know, your cattle are consuming that through their manure, they're seeding your fields. Not to mention that when they trample mature grass onto the ground and the shaft breaks, that seed drops into the seed bank. And this is how you're constantly giving back to your pastures. And it's not so detail oriented because the cattle have it all figured out by nature's process. All you have to do is get the grazer's eye and find the desired amount of impact on the land. You see, these cattle are having a time. I like giving them bigger spaces that last a few days. I find that it's very enjoyable for them, but there's no doubt that you get better grazing efficiency when you're stomping down to a day or two paddocks, getting even grazing and putting the right amount of pressure on the cattle to keep them eating. But yeah, you know, giving back to your soil with your animals, you got to do it, because if you're not, you're gonna hit diminishing returns. And it's like biking up a steep hill. You know, it doesn't get any easier as you keep going. When you're giving back to your soil and you have that compound fertility, which contributes to your yields and decreases costs associated with, you know, animal hygiene, health, medical bills, not to mention all the other inputs and extensive winter feed production that's needed. When you got your animals sized out to your land properly, you can turn it into a low maintenance operation and let nature do the work. And that's what we like to show here. Starting small, but the dream is big. So I'd like to say thanks for stopping by, folks. God bless you all. See you on the next one.